Recently someone put a post on LinkedIn questioning the figure that we see often that 70% of change initiatives fail, and discussed the seemingly opaque origins of that number. It makes me think, what does fail mean? To be unsuccessful in achieving your goals, to neglect to do something, or to cease to work properly. And I reckon failure in that sense can be relative and can be measured relative to goals. And goals are mutable. We can set goals in advance, change them mid-course, change them after the fact, weight each element differently. So I guess what I'm talking about is pre-hoc, ad hoc and post-hoc mutability for project goals. And that seems prevalent. Then I thought about the classic objectives and key results approach, the OKR approach. And I like these because they have objectives and KPIs built in, and they're simple to state at least. In the classic OKR, put a man in the moon by the end of the decade example, it had multiple failures. It had 6 accidents, including the deaths of 3 astronauts, on the road to success. So for that one, was the overall goal of the project achieved? Yes. Were there failures along the way? Yes. Were the 6 key failures along the way enough to consider the overall project a failure? No. Why not? Because the overall goal of the project was weighted as being more important than the failures. The overall goal actually was weighted more than human life due to the Cold War, etc. But this is a case for me of pre-hoc decisions and relative priorities. And relative prioritisation can ensure almost any project succeeds. It reminds me of Lewis Carroll's famous quote, if you don't know where you're going, any road will do. And often the road chosen for defining success is the one that has worked out, not the multiple roads that didn't work out. So I had a look a bit deeper into project failure rates, and there's been some suggestions that 25% of tech projects fail outright, 20 to 50% show no ROI, and up to 50% need massive reworking when finished. And there's plenty of examples we can look at. In 2015, a German pro basketball team was relegated to a lower division due to a Windows update. 2004, a large drug wholesaler spent $100 million, including extensive reworking on an ERP system, which ultimately failed, and the company filed for bankruptcy soon after. 2014, a $2.4 billion air traffic control system failed due to insufficient computer memory. 2007, Queensland Health Authority in Australia, $6 million initial cost, which grew to $25 million and finally $1.1 billion over the next 8 years in remediation costs. And in 1996, the Ariane space rocket blew up just after launch, and that was due to a software issue. So we look at the 6 key reasons for failure in terms of change management. Okay, number 1, project not defined. It might seem surprising, not defined enough. And for that, we've got to start with the why in terms of change management. Set up your OKRs, get alignment using ProSize 4Ps exercise. Sometimes that takes a while, but it's worth it. Particularly the why are we doing this, why are we doing it now? What happens if we don't? You need alignment and a laser-like focus on that. Number 2, lack of leadership. Often tech projects are seen as IT projects and are, quotes, relegated to the IT department. That's not right. IT projects are business projects. And for success, we need a strong primary sponsor being active and visible, building a coalition, communicating. And for that person's peers, the leaders of every business function in the organisation, to be active and visible for the change throughout. It can't ever be considered just an IT project. Number 3, lack of accountability. It's related to the second one. When projects are seen as IT projects, there can be lack of accountability outside the IT department. And for change management, IT projects, quotes, that impact people are not IT projects, they're company projects. And that means we need strong change management for success. And don't forget, the return on investment for a project such as that comes from 3 things. Speed of adoption, ultimate utilisation and proficiency in use, and that's all about adoption. So we've got to get people through their ADCAR process for those kind of projects to be successful. And the fourth one is inefficient communication. And of course, in change management, communication is key. The number one difference between a regular project communication and a change management communication is we will identify the audience first before crafting the message. And that talks to the 5 tenets of change management, which is that organisational change is the sum of individuals making personal decisions to embrace, adopt and use a change or not. It's also worth remembering Cotter's quote in terms of communication. If you can't communicate the vision to someone in 5 minutes or less and get a reaction that signifies both understanding and interest, you're not yet done. Also look at some of ProSci's key communications findings. We've got to use different methods and ensure that face-to-face, I suppose at the moment, virtually as well, is one of them. That an employee's immediate supervisor is the best person to provide communications about what the change means for them. That senior business leaders should state the business reasons for the change constantly. Hopefully the communicator is credible. The message should be open and transparent and be sent between 5 and 7 times. And interestingly, the fifth one is no plan or clear timescale for the project, or poor planning and poor timelining of the project. And don't forget, there's a key change management insight here. When is it that we start to get the business benefits of a people-dependent project? Well, the goal's got to be at go-live time. So that means we've got to have our people at ability in the ADCAR model by go-live day. People have to be jumping out of their seats, metaphorically, saying, I cannot wait for this new thing for go-live day. It's going to help me in the following way. I'm aware, I desire, I have the knowledge and I have the ability. So it's only at ability when we start to get our business benefits. From a change management point of view, we need to be laser focused on the end user desire element of the ADCAR model. And my metaphor is that no matter how fancy and technologically advanced the car is that's being constructed, if nobody embraces, adopts and uses it when it comes out of the factory, you may as well have given everyone a bicycle. And the 7th one is solving the wrong problem. And that's where companies think they're creating something to address the problem, but it turns out they're addressing the wrong problem. And this can be addressed if you start with the why up front and you have a laser focus on ADCAR, particularly the desire element. What is it that people in the front lines of your organisation are telling you is a problem? What is it you need to solve? So what are my conclusions? Well, pre-hoc, ad hoc and post-hoc rationalisations can help to make any project a quote success. However, there are some elements that need to be in place. Strong, consistent and engaged sponsorship across the entire business. No siloing of a tech change project in IT. Communication, knowing what the business problems we're trying to solve are. That's about talking to end users, helping those who we expect to embrace, adopt and use the new way of working through their ADCAR process. As Winston Churchill said, to improve is to change, to be perfect is to change often. And finally, I guess, as with all things in life, as Samuel Beckett said, ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail better. Hope that helps. Nice view.